Camps on Tracks, it could seem like this really scary, daunting thing, but when you get into it and when you actually practice it, it is really super easy and it makes your life so much easier. As a counselor, you have a lot of different jobs, and having Camps on Tracks is that really simple way to have everyone be included and to have fun at camp. One way that we're all the same at camp is that we like to have fun and to make friends. And at camp, it's a really great place to celebrate those differences, because without differences, life would be so boring.
We've actually found that one of the most successful situations for Ben has been at camp. Everyone has been very understanding, and when he started out with more support. He has one-on-one, and then he learns the routines, and then they gradually back off and let other staff get to know Ben and the kids get to know Ben.
And the whole point of Camps on Tracks is to talk about those similarities and differences, and to talk about the challenges that those kids have, and to make it not such a bad thing, and for them to just learn more about it, and for them to be okay with it, and to know that everyone's similar, different, and it's okay.
I can tell that there's a real environment of inclusion here because he always makes a friend. Every time I pick him up he's come different weeks, and it's not always the same kids exactly at camp, but he always says, this is so-and-so and this is my friend. So they must be, I know, doing things that make him feel included, and so if he does something, sometimes he'll flap his hands or get really silly. The way the staff handles that is they won't let Ben, bother other kids to the point of, driving them crazy, but they do it in such a way that he's celebrated for who he is and accepted for who he is.
So you start out with your introduction in the morning, and then you always want to play a game to reinforce that conversation that you had. So there's lots of games that Camps on Tracks sets out that really reinforces the similarities and differences, celebrating those differences. So one of the games would be the Barnyard Babble. So this is one thing that you can use with all ages. You can improvise it to however you want, and it's really talking about and showing the kids what it's like to be excluded and what it feels like to be excluded, and how you can be a really good friend and include everyone. So the game involves everybody getting a different animal card, and there'll be one animal that is left out by themselves, and you kind of let that happen for a little bit just to kind of show that, yeah, it's really sad to be left out and to not have friends, and then you want to spark the conversation of how can you be a good friend? What are some of the strategies that we can use at camp to include our friends? We find that books are really awesome for some of the younger kids, but also for some of the older kids. Books always have really great messages, and reading a book is a really great way to just kind of calm down, have that conversation, and then having a little conversation about it after to really talk about those similarities and differences. So the Where Do I Belong game, it's a really awesome game. So you would put the pictures around the room, and you would ask them to find an animal that they relate to. So they would go stand or sit by the picture that they relate to. And you kind of would just have a conversation with them and ask them, okay, so why do you relate with that animal? And I ran this activity the other day, and it was really awesome. So there was a lion, and I was a little worried about it because lions can be scary and aggressive animals, but some of the answers that they came up with were lions are brave, and like that, you just get some really great answers, and you never know what kids are going to say. So having those conversations are always really great to talk about how all these animals are different, and figuring out where you belong is really awesome within this conversation.
Every Monday morning, I lead a tracks activity, whether it be like introducing tracks or ability awareness, and then we introduce the reward system on Monday. Seeing campers go up to them and include them into the circle game or the game, it just makes me feel so good that it's working, or see another kid ask another child to join the circle. Like, it just makes me feel awesome that like what I taught them is being used.